Ah, Halloween Horror Nights. That's right, we're doing another one of these again. As many of you know, Halloween Horror Nights has been an event at Universal Studios, Orlando since 1991, and I don't know much shit about Hollywood, that's their own story. But the people who travel to Orlando, like me and other people, don't have to worry about Hollywood situation and only have to worry about Orlando, which actually they have the same amount of houses this year, sadly or badly. I don't know whatever your opinion is on that. And yes, I realize that the more houses than ever advertisement line was part of Halloween Horror Nights 28 and not Halloween Horror Nights 29. So before everybody goes in the comments and says, "You're not a true Halloween Horror Nights fan because you got the years mixed up," well, there's your answer. Anyway, before we start the actual countdown, just a little couple clarifications. This video will be listing my rankings of the houses I'm most excited for, not the ones that I think are the scariest that I've been through. I have not been through these houses yet, and I will be going in a couple weeks, possibly with CNR Studios. I do not know yet. This will be my 5th year going, so happy 5th to me. I've been going since Halloween Horror Nights 24, and yeah, this is for Orlando. And just one more clarification before I give the warning and start the actual countdown. I have watched the YouTube videos on each of these haunts only once, so I can still get scared. Anyway, let's begin with the warning. Warning, I don't care how many dislikes this video gets. I'm still going to list my opinions. If you have an opposing opinion, that's okay. After all, we're not going to agree on everything. All jokes I make in this video are just jokes. You should not get offended at them. Just try not to rip each other's heads off in the comments. Okay, now on to the video. Graveyard Games. Now keep in mind, I'm excited for all these haunted houses, but some of them do not compare to others, like this one. Basically, the story of this haunted house is that a couple of kids end up in the wrong hands. No, not by Skinny Zach, by ghosts. Whoa! Now I am excited for all the haunted houses, including this one, but what puts this at number 10 is that I'm not all that scared of the idea of a haunted graveyard, because that's kind of average. I mean, I've seen that in basically all the haunted houses I've been to. I won't list all of them because, some of them are near me and they may give out my location. And the other themes on this list just like make this one look like the old toy, like the really old rotting toy that's collectible, compared to the new toy that everyone wants to buy. Another thing that brings this house down is that you can easily see the ceiling because of all the lights. Now you may be asking, if you haven't gone through the houses, how do you know that? It's because I watched the videos. One of the things I'm most excited for is the design of the ghosts. Anyway, great house, but definitely not my most anticipated, and compared to the others, not the best. On to number 9. Stranger Things.
Oh my god, oh my god, he put Stranger Things at number 9! Oh my god, let's take Stranger Things 10! You know, like, the 11 Mike relationship score? Oh my god, this is bad, he does not deserve human rights!
Well, guess what, fuckers, it's number 9. Now, I'm actually very excited for this haunted house, and it'll probably be the first one I, or we, depending on what happens, will do. But the thing that brings this thing down low is that, other than the demo dogs and the Mind Flayer, the characters that are going to scare us, such as Hopper and Dustin and all them, they're not really that scary. Sure, depending on where they're placed, it'll be scary, but if it's expected, then everyone's going to know where they're going to scare us, and then they're not that scary because they don't look scary. However, the demo dogs, from what it looks of it, there's not going to be that many. However, it looks like there were a couple, and it looks like they had some good scares. And the Mind Flayer looks amazing. So, it looks like a pretty good maze in terms of like scenery, and it looks like it could give some good scares, but it definitely doesn't deserve the top 5. Anyway, moving on to number 8. Nightingales Blood Pit. Whoops, wrong Blood Pit. Just a little fun fact. The music from that previous Hotline Miami clip I just showed you was played last year at Halloween Horror Nights 28 in the Harvest Scare Zone. The soundtrack is called Scattle Bloodline. Check it out, I actually like it. Now, the story of this haunted house is that it takes place back in ancient Rome, and it's set in an arena of gore, as Halloween Horror Nights calls it. And ancient Rome is suffering a bad drought, so the emperor is causing all the people in his civilization to battle. And then the Nightingales, these creatures, are killing people, and they're interfering. Now, I think the idea of an arena of gore that takes place during ancient Rome is awesome, and I'm very excited to see the tiger they use in this maze, because tigers are a pretty cool part of these arenas. But what brings this haunted house down lower than others is that I really don't know much about the Nightingales. I know that they came around in 2011, and I wasn't around then. My first year was Halloween Horror Nights 24, so I really just don't know much about the Nightingales, other than they've been around since the dawn of time, which I feel like is a little overused, the whole creatures being around since the dawn of time plot. Anyway, great concept of a house. It'll probably be really scary since it's going to be in the sprung tents, and those houses usually end up being really scary. But the Nightingales Blood Pit cannot win this match. Anyway, moving on to number 7. Jordan Peele's Us. Now, I think Jordan Peele is a great filmmaker, and Jordan Peele's Us is actually one of my favorite horror movies, and I've wanted to see it become a Halloween Horror Nights haunted house. But the thing is, I don't know how you'd be able to pull this off as a haunted house, considering that it takes place a lot during daytime, how you'd be able to make scenes from the Santa Cruz Pier, seeing how big it is. But in the videos, they did find ways to pull it off. I can't exactly remember all of them because, like stated earlier, I don't want to I still want to get scared. And the thing is, they said they were going to let us see the tethered version of ourselves, but that was a lie.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god, stop your fucking lying.
Though we didn't get to see the tethered version of ourselves at the end, they did make a good ending. I won't spoil it, but if you want to go and watch a video, you can. That's one of the only things I remember from watching the video, and it looks like a pretty scary ending. You can get some good scares. But anyway, Jordan Peele's Us is number 7, and we are now moving on to number 6. Yeti, Terror of the Yukon, or Expedition Everest, The Haunted House. Well, actually, that can't be because, Everest is in the Himalayas, and the Yukon is in Canada, so that's not possible. Now, I put this haunted house in number 6 because as much as I'm excited for this haunted house, and I think the Yetis will be really scary, because from what I remember, they look pretty scary. If I see a certain character too many times in a haunt, I really won't get scared of them anymore when they pop out. And it looks like that's the story with this haunted house, because it looks like we were mainly seeing the Yetis. I can't remember if there was some loggers in the haunt. I guess I'll find out when I go, but that's what brings this haunt down, too many appearances of the Yetis. Since scares are a key factor of haunted houses, this haunted house goes down to number 6. Now keep in mind, I am excited for all of the haunted houses, but if I don't get scared in a haunted house, that's a main reason why a haunted house could be bad. How about we move out of Canada and move on to number 5? Ghostbusters. Whoops, wrong movie. Let me change that. Ghostbusters is a house that I'm very excited for, but what brings it down lower than others is that I feel like this house is definitely aiming more for comedic purposes than for scaring purposes. Definitely another reason why I put this house in number 5 and not a higher number was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man scene they did. It was very disappointing. All you see is his head, and it's really not that impressive other than the projection they put on his head. But still, there are actually some very scary scenes in this haunted house, like the library scene and probably some others that I'm forgetting. But Ghostbusters lands number 5, and I think we're going to go to number 4 now. Depths of Fear. Definitely my most anticipated original house. Depths of Fear appears to be a very claustrophobic haunted house with some pretty good character designs, and it feels very immersive from what I remember in the videos that I saw. One thing that I noticed though, as much as scary as the masks look, They do look kind of fake though. You could easily see that they were masks because of like, some of the wrinkles or whatever you want to call it. If a mask is too big on you, there's some like wrinkles or spaces or gaps. You know what I mean. Original houses are never my most hyped anyway. So, on to number 3. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That's right, guys. Clowns are back at Halloween Horror Nights this year. Everybody loves clowns because, they're scary. They're creepy. But we're not talking about just some regular old scary clown or clowns. We're talking about the killer clowns from outer space. Now, I put this at number 3 because from what I remember after watching the video on this haunted house, I remember feeling like it didn't feel like a Killer Clowns from Outer Space haunted house, but an original house based on the film characters. In my opinion, if you're going to make a IP house, it needs to be based on the IP it's on. It needs to go in the order of the film. Now, Poltergeist, I feel like, or from what I know, didn't necessarily go in order, but it felt like you were in Poltergeist. This, however, it just feels like you're going around the spaceship most of the time and not through Crescent Cove. However, the design of the house looked really good, and it looked like it gave some good scares. And Clownzilla, oh my god. It was definitely better than Hollywood's, and I don't know how they did the Clownzilla, but it's amazing. If you want, you can go look at the videos, but I cannot wait to see it when I go there. On to number 2. Universal Monsters. Remember last year when I was saying in my video ranking my most hyped haunted houses for Halloween Horror Nights 28 that I wished that we got the Universal Monsters haunted house that Hollywood got? Well, my wish came true, and this year we're getting Universal Monsters, and I'm very excited for this haunted house. I can't wait to see how they're going to make the monsters from the 30s, 40s, and 50s Universal Monster films more modern and more scary. However, one of the reasons why I put this house in number 2 and not number 1 is because Frankenstein looked a little too green. Now you may be saying, oh, but Frankenstein's green. Well, I mean, that was the past, in fact, but today you wouldn't really see a corpse or a guy made of corpses looking green. You'd probably see him looking gray or really pale, not green. Definitely the monster I'm most hyped to see in this maze is the creature from the Black Lagoon, since he is my favorite Universal monster. Anyway, I just gave you my mind on Universal Monsters. It would have been my most hyped, but there's a film I think is scarier, and I think it will be better, even though of its location. What is that house, you may ask? Well, I guess I'll tell you. Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses, or Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Hicks, however you want to view it. Now, I put this house in number 1 for a couple of reasons. It's a very scary movie, like not jump scare scary, because jump scares are a very cheap way of scaring people, but it gets to you. Like all the cheerleader torture scenes get to me, the fish boy scene gets to me, because just thinking of how he got turned into that way. The Dr. Satan scene is actually kind of scary, can't wait to see that. I also put this in number 1 because you won't just have one character scaring you, so that definitely offers a chance to be scared multiple times. One thing though that does worry me, that doesn't make this lower on the list, is the location of this haunted house. If you don't know, it's going to be located in the Men in Black tent, which has been home to some very bad haunted houses in the past. However, many YouTubers like Rick Splix have been giving this haunted house good ratings, so that increases my hopes. And after all these reasons, this is my number 1 most anticipated house, and I can't wait to go through it at Halloween Horror Nights 29. If you're still sticking around, thanks for watching my video and listening to my opinion. If you got fired up over all the jokes I made, then do not watch my videos, because then you're sensitive and you don't understand that they're just jokes. If you're going to Halloween Horror Nights this year, please be sure to leave your most hyped or favorite houses this year at Halloween Horror Nights, or both if you want to leave your most hyped or your favorite that you went through. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.